I always tell people that one of the hardest things you can do in life is to try to understand another person. Try to get into their minds. Try to take a few steps in their shoes. Try to see the world through their lens or through their eyes. But yet, even with that, many of us still are predisposed to judge. We sometimes judge on the most simplest and basic of things, like how we look, the clothes we're wearing, how we talk, all the way to more complex and deeper and layered and more nuanced things, such as what we believe or what we think other people believe, right? It's all a matter of perception. And unfortunately, for many of us, it's very easy to get swept up into perceiving rather than actually understanding, rather than taking the moment to understand another person. Now, you may be thinking, well, why is it so bad, right? We all can't spend hours and days trying to get into someone's mind, trying to talk with them, trying to hear their perspective. Why go through all that effort when, we can get a feel for someone, we can get a vibe for someone just by spending a few moments with them? Well, the reason this is detrimental is because when we judge other people, not only are we not seeing the full picture, but we're also not seeing the totality of all of existence. We're not seeing the ultimate truth. The truth, not just as it relates to that person, but the truth in general. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's someone that you see on a regular basis. You don't have a relationship with them, but you see them, whether that's, going to your favorite coffee store or running into them from on occasion in the library or wherever it may be or whatever the circumstances may be, you run into this person and you notice that they talk a lot and they talk about very simple things that don't interest you, and you just sort of think, wow, this person is so uninteresting, or this person isn't really benefiting me. And in fact, they're actually taking up all my time, and I got things to do, and I got places to be. Well, sometimes you might not realize that that person is trying to teach you something, trying to teach you patience, trying to teach you to slow down, trying to teach you to be more compassionate. In your perspective, you might view that as a waste of time. You might view that as blocking you from doing things that are actually important in that moment. And there may be an element of truth to that, but there's also an element of truth that we will never fully understand another person. And so, one of the most dangerous things that we can do is outright judge them, outright form an opinion of them that could be pretty far off, right? I'm not saying that we shouldn't ever have an opinion or we shouldn't ever cast judgment, because there is some level of that required, right? But it's being able to discern how much of that is required, how much of that is actually for our own benefit, and how much of that can actually harm us, can actually make us look at people in a negative light, make us feel somehow superior to them, make us feel that they're on the wrong path and that we are on the right path. Because whenever one of the things that judgment does is it feeds the ego. It puts us at the center of the universe rather than seeing us as just one speck in this endless tapestry called life, in this endless tapestry called the universe, right? It's so easy to get swept up into that tunnel vision, into that, this is my life and everyone else is just living in it and has a role to play in it. But in reality, we are just one human being out of more than 8 million human beings and out of infinite life forms. So sometimes it's important to just kind of put our things on pause, put that to do list to the side, and really take some time to understand another person. Spend a moment to talk to them, ask questions. The best way to understand someone is to ask them questions. Don't just guess. Be genuinely curious. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of a true spiritual person is a sense of curiosity. Not just the curiosity in spiritual texts, not just the curiosity in the divine, but also a curiosity in other people. Because we are all representations of God. And so we all deserve that chance to be heard, to be understood, to be listened to. And the only way that can ever happen is if there's no judgment, is if we can just speak freely and openly from our heart without fear that someone would paint us in a different perspective or misinterpret what we're saying. So, this is a topic that sometimes goes unnoticed. And, I wanted to kind of cover this because, throughout the course of my life, I've experienced a lot of judgment. I've also given a lot of judgment, whether for better or for worse, probably on more occasions worse, on others without truly understanding who they actually are. And it's only through experience and it's only through insight that I've discovered that's such a terrible thing to do. I'm really cutting those people short. And in the process, I'm also cutting myself short because I'm not this judgmental person. I'm not this person that categorizes everything into black and white, into good and bad, into this bucket or that bucket. Life is much more color than that. It's much more varied than that. And so that's why I wanted to spend some time talking about this video, spending some time talking about, the dangers of judgment, why we judge people, but to put a more hopeful spin on this, what can we do instead of judging? Right? Because it's very easy to judge. We all can judge. Little kids judge. As young as you can see them, they know how to judge. It's instinctive. It's natural. It's a part of being human. But a part of being an enlightened human, or a part of being a spirit in a human body, or a soul in a human body, is being able to raise our consciousness, raise our understanding, raise our wisdom to realize this tool or this thing that we're doing is not always to the best, in our best interest. I mentioned that I've been the subject of so many judgment, even to this day. I don't feel like people truly understand me. And I think we all can say this to some extent. I mean, how many people can truly understand us? Even the people closest to us know a lot about us, but they never see the full picture. They only see snapshots. They only see different angles. They never see the entire prism, right? So it's all sort of different reflections, different lights, different cameras, different perspectives. But there's one part of us that can never be captured, and that is the totality of our entire existence. So if you can realize and see that in yourself, then offer the same benefit and credit to others. Realize that just because you are seeing them in that one light, for example, the person that I mentioned earlier, perhaps in that moment they're talkative, they want someone to socialize with, but you never really know what they're doing behind the scenes. You never really know what that person's situation is like. So more often than not, try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Try to go one step further than everyone else and spend a little time with that person. Give them your interest. When we talk a lot about giving, the mind naturally gravitates toward giving your money or giving your time, doing service, doing volunteer work, doing charitable deeds. And these are all great, right? But one thing that you can give in endless quantity and can have such a huge impact on a person's life is giving them complete and undivided attention, giving them complete focus and interest, giving them the sense that you actually care about them as a human being. You may be different from them. You may come from totally different walks of life. You may never even see them again. But at least in that moment, you showed an interest. You saw that there was another soul across from you, and you gave them that space to express themselves, to manifest their God given qualities, to manifest their God given features. So always keep this in mind. Whenever you have a temptation to judge someone, see if you can sort of put the wheels on stop, if you can pump the brakes for a moment, and just analyze the situation, analyze that person. If they're doing something that you don't like, for example, or that rubs you the wrong way, ask yourself, well, why are they doing that? Is there some sort of a reason? Is there some sort of a justification that might explain it that perhaps I'm not seeing the full light, but they're the ones going through it? They're the ones experiencing it, right? And I'm not saying, again, that you have to be the detective here and you have to know every single thing about that person, but at least go one step further, right? Go at least one step further. And believe me, you'll notice such a huge impact on your life. You'll notice that you won't judge people so easily. You'll notice that in place of that judgment, there's actually a compassion, a curiosity, a sense of togetherness and oneness, that we are all the same, we are all one. And no matter how we carry out our lives, in essence, we're all experiencing the same challenges, pursuing the same goals, albeit in different forms. And this is so important for your spiritual development, to transcend this individualism, to transcend this me, and get to a state of we, get to a state of one, get to a state of harmony. That's really what it's all about. You know, if we're to examine the deeper ramifications of this, having no judgment not only benefits that person, not only benefits us from, you know, a more immediate aspect of showing compassion, but it also actually accelerates our spiritual growth, believe it or not. Right. So if you're watching this video, chances are this is something that you're interested in, right? Because this channel is all about spirituality, but perhaps you may not have thought of it in that light, that being a judge-free person or being a judgment-free person can actually make you a better spiritual person, can help you tap into your true essence. So I hope this video sheds some light onto the joys and the blessings of having no judgment at all, right? Or having more discerned judgment. Maybe I should put it that way, because we all need to at some point cast a judgment. Everything we do is a judgment. Every opinion we have is a judgment. Every thought we have is a judgment. It's very rare to have zero filters and zero perspectives and zero ideas. But at least if we can be a little bit more conscious of them, if we can actually notice our thoughts and notice our emotions and notice what is creeping up beneath the surface, well, maybe we can be successful in steering those into a more positive and a more inclusive and embracing light. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it shed a little bit more light onto judgment and what we can do in its place, and how being free of judgment can ultimately help you achieve a state of spiritual awakening. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and a like. Please also consider subscribing to the channel. As you guys know, I'm always trying to put out new videos here related to spirituality in daily life. Not trying to do any of the esoteric or abstract things, but really just what are the things that can actually help us in our daily life that will help us in our spiritual life. And as you've probably seen through some of the other videos, more often than not, these two intertwine. It's not that your spiritual life is different from your daily life. Your spiritual life is your life, right? You watching this right now is an act of spirituality. You going to sleep at night is an act of spirituality. You eating is an act of spirituality. So don't bifurcate things. Don't try to see the world in black and white. See it all together. And I hope that you will join me on this journey, that you become a subscriber, and stay tuned for more videos that can help you progress and develop and grow even further. But with that, I thank you again for your time. I wish you a wonderful day and week ahead. and many, many, many successes as you continue to travel on this beautiful, sometimes lonely, but incredibly rewarding path. And until next time, I wish you a great day and a great week ahead. Thank you.